It's a cool 55 degrees. You can tell fall is in the air at our homestead. This is some of my chickens, not all of them. I have 21. We let them free range during the day, and then we have a coop that they go in at night. They're not quite laying yet. My roosters are almost mature, and they have been molting, so I think they should start laying in the next month or so. I do get about 2 or 3 eggs a day. Some of them are lagging behind coming this morning, but I love my chickens. I am making butter this morning, and I'm going to walk you through like how to do it. I may not be on the video a lot, but a few things that you're going to need. I do mine in a Ninja mixer, and you're going to need a strainer and a bowl, and I use the spatula, and of course you're going to need your cream. I normally fill my Ninja mixer up a little over half full, and then I just turn it on high. Well, I guess it would help if we turn the power on. Show you like the consistency. As you can see now, it's kind of getting thick, kind of like whipped cream, and then it will change. See how the consistency is starting to change, is starting to turn into butter. We still have to blend it some more. See those butter curds? Well, I'm gonna put it in the strainer right now. We're gonna dump it in here. And this down here is buttermilk, and you can save it. I freeze it to when I need it, and I make like homemade ranch dressing, you know, whatever recipe that calls for butter. But anyway, I'm letting the buttermilk drain out of it, and I'll get a spatula and try to like get all of the water out. So now I have homemade butter. I should weigh it and see how much it is. And I'll wrap this in parchment paper and put in a gallon freezer bag with some other butter and freeze it. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute about the butter. I don't have anyone to video me, so I kind of have to do it myself. But some people make butter in a KitchenAid mixer. It just didn't quite work for me. So I think it was Venison for Dinner that I follow. She showed me, I'm not positive if it was her, how to make butter in a Ninja mixer. It takes about 10 minutes, and you have natural butter, no preservatives, because it's just plain milk cream from a cow. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to pour out some sourdough starter. I have somebody that has purchased some, and I'm going to drop it off to them today. And after I pour the sourdough starter out, I'm also going to feed it. I feed it with a 3/4 cup of flour and a 1/2 cup of water. I did attend a sourdough class probably a few weeks ago, and I did learn a lot from them. My sourdough starter is all white flour. He did have some with some wheat flour. I would like to try that. But one thing I did learn is that if you when you feed your sourdough starter, the temperature of the water means a lot. Mine's probably more like a yogurty taste. I do my the temperature of my water like below like 154 degrees, but if you do it above 154, it's going to be more acidic. I like the yogurty taste, not the vinegary taste of sourdough bread. But you know, if you like the vinegary taste, just have your water more warm. I do more of a lukewarm water. I was going to tell you, don't be intimidated to try sourdough. I started my own starter and was given a sourdough bread recipe from a friend of mine, but we use the discard a lot. We make tortillas, sandwich bread, pancakes, you can make scones. There's a lot that you can find on Pinterest, but sourdough bread is good for anyone that has like a gluten sensitive, or if they're diabetics, because it's easier for you to digest. And after 48 hours of fermentation, the gluten goes from a 48 to a 12. I am diabetic, and I will say it is easier on my stomach to digest. When I make bread with yeast, I seem to get gas or something, but when you do use a sourdough discard, you do have to use some yeast. Thank you for following along. I'm going to deliver my sourdough starter, and I just fed my sourdough starter, and when I come back, I'm going to make some sourdough discard sandwich bread, and I may make some tortillas. We'll see you then. I will show you my sourdough starter. I'm going to start making my sourdough discard bread, and I'll kind of walk you through the steps and then show you at the end with our homemade butter. Picked up this jar of milk from my neighbor this morning. She has a Jersey cow. I always take the cream off of it, either for butter or for cream for my coffee. And anyway, we are thinking about getting a cow. We haven't like totally made the decision. There's, you know, you can get, I would like a Jersey cow A2 if possible. So anyway, I'm taking the cream off of this. I have warmed my milk up, and my yeast is in the bottom of the pan. It's 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, 1.5 cups of warm milk, and I'm gonna mix this up slowly. And then I'm gonna pour in my sugar, about 1/4 cup, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to mix that up, and then I'm going to get my oil and put it in my sourdough starter. I have put my oil in, and now I'm going to pour the sourdough starter. Need a cup of it. You can use a different oil, but I like to use olive oil. I just use olive oil or like bacon grease, but in this recipe I use olive oil, and I have added the 4.5 cups of flour, the sourdough starter, and oil. Now I'm going to mix this up. And once it is mixed up, I'm going to put it in this bowl. I've sprayed this bowl with olive oil spray, and you're gonna put a towel over it, and you're gonna let it rise. This is my dough, and I'm gonna cover it up. I like to use 100% cotton towel, and I just normally just put it on my stove, and I'll come back and check it in about 1.5 hours. I'm going to feed my sourdough starter. I also mixed up some sourdough discard tortillas for tonight because we're having breakfast burritos for dinner. So I'm letting that rise too. And now I need to feed my sourdough starter. Okay, now since I've used my sourdough starter on 2 things, I am going to feed it, and the same way I started it. 3/4 cup of flour. And 1/2 cup of lukewarm water. And I will stir that up and put the lid on until I use it again. One thing I will tell you, if you're going out of town and you aren't going to use your sourdough starter for a while, or anyway, you just put a lid on it, put it in your refrigerator, and it should be fine. But I will put a lid on this for it to grow. Put this in loaf pans, and I'm going to let it double in size.